Welcome to 24 Hours in Kyoto. This historical city used to be the capital of ancient Japan and has many historical sites that still stand today. Ideally, you'd want to spend about 2 days here to cover everything, but if you only have 24 hours or less, there's still plenty to see and do. Make sure you check out our one-day guide to Tokyo as well. The banner on the right will take you there, or if you want to check it out later, the link to the video is in the description box below. Your first stop will be the Arashiyama bamboo forest. If you get there early enough, like by 8 in the morning, there should be very few people around, so you'll be walking alone amongst the countless soaring bamboo trees. It is very peaceful and serene at this time, which is also your best chance to take lots of amazing photos. But because this is one of the top attractions in Kyoto, the bamboo forest gets crowded easily, so the earlier you get there, the better. Next, head over to Tenryu-ji, which is just a stone's throw from the bamboo forest. Built in the year 1305, this is one of the most famous Zen temples in Kyoto that is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. You can take a stroll and admire the many historic buildings and tranquil gardens on the temple grounds, although different areas of the temple will require separate admission fees. Like many temples in Japan, there is a sense of serenity and beauty unlike anywhere else. Now it's time for some shopping at Nishiki Market. Known as Kyoto's Kitchen, this market goes for 5 blocks and features more than 100 shops and restaurants, some of which have been there for centuries. This lively market specializes in all things food related, like fresh seafood, produce, knives and cookware, and is a great place to find seasonal foods and Kyoto specialties, such as Japanese sweets, pickles, dried seafood, and sushi. Yes, you can definitely spend your 24 hours here if you'd like, but there's many more things to see and do in Kyoto. So let's keep moving. The next location is the Fushimi Inari Taisha, just 30 minutes away by train from Nishiki Market. If you've never been here before, I can tell you that it's going to be such a treat. I remember feeling so happy when I got there because I've seen so many videos before my trip and this place has always looked spectacular. Considered as one of the most important Shinto shrines in Kyoto and possibly all of Japan, it is famous for the thousands of vibrant red torii gates that stretch from the entrance all the way to the top of the sacred Mount Inari. Here's what many travelers don't know. The climb to the top is actually long and challenging, as it normally takes about 2 hours to reach the top. What people usually do is climb for about 45 minutes to reach the Yotsu-tsuji intersection. There is a great viewpoint of the city here and also some shops for you to purchase some refreshments. Now, the next location on our list is a prime spot for viewing the sunset, so make sure you come down from Fushimi Inari Taisha with at least 2 hours to spare before the sun begins to lower down. From the train station, it will take you about 20 minutes to walk to the Kiyomizudera Temple, otherwise known as Pure Water Temple. On your way there, you will pass through the Higashiyama District that is filled with humble shops selling all sorts of goodies. The temptation to stop and shop will be very hard to resist. But you'll be coming back along this route later, so you can do your shopping then. Better to keep walking to the temple because sunsets don't usually wait for anyone. Kiyomizudera is one of the most famous Buddhist temples in Japan. Founded in the year 778, this religious relic is one of the many UNESCO World Heritage Sites in Kyoto. Featuring many different buildings inside with its own significance, it is a great way to learn about traditional Japanese culture, so it is definitely worth your time to have a look around. As the time gets closer to sunset, you'll see people start heading over to the butai, or the wooden stage. This is where you'll watch the sunset over beautiful Kyoto, and if you come here during cherry blossom season or in the autumn, the views get even more spectacular. Keep in mind that the opening hours of the temple changes with the seasons. It opens at 6 AM daily, but can close anytime from 5:30 to 6:30 in the evening. If there are seasonal illumination events, such as during the cherry blossom event, the temple might close as late as 9 PM, but make sure you check the website for the latest closing times. After visiting Kiyomizudera, head back down the same way you came. You will do a little bit of exploring in the Higashiyama District, one of the most well-preserved traditional districts in Kyoto. Plenty of dainty wooden buildings with old narrow roads, the district gives a good glimpse of the past when Kyoto was the capital of Japan. Make sure you stop by Ninenzaka on the way to catch a glimpse of the beautiful Yasaka Pagoda. It is considered one of the most beautiful places in Kyoto at night. Naturally, it is also one of the best places for photography in the city. You will be heading to the ancient streets of the Gion District next, which is your final stop for the day. Here in Gion, the most intriguing street has to be the Hanami-Koji Street, because it is one of the oldest streets in Kyoto and where you are most likely to see a geisha or two strolling by. If you do happen to see one, they're usually on their way to meet with clients, so don't bug them for photos and stay a respectful distance away. If you're looking for dinner, there is no better place than to eat at one of the restaurants on the Shirakawa Canal. The tranquility of the water along with the timeless wooden houses along the street creates a unique ambiance. It is almost as if you've stepped into a time machine and went back in the past. Best of all, many of the restaurants here have views that look out onto the canal, so whether you're here during the day or night, you get an amazing view nonetheless. Now, as I've said at the beginning of this video, one day really isn't enough to cover all of Kyoto. Here are some of the alternative attractions that you can choose to go instead. One of the most impressive Zen Buddhist temples in Kyoto, Kinkakuji or the Golden Pavilion, has its top 2 floors completely covered in gold. It looks good in photos but absolutely amazing in person. However, what the photos don't show is how packed this place can be. When I was there a few years before COVID, it was literally a sea of people everywhere, so even getting a good shot of the pavilion was hard. Ginkakuji or the Silver Pavilion is another Zen Buddhist temple that is built a few decades after Kinkakuji. Unlike the Golden Pavilion that is partially covered with gold, the Silver Pavilion is actually not covered in silver despite its name, and it is usually less crowded than its golden counterpart, so you can expect to explore half a dozen other temple buildings, a beautiful moss garden, and a unique dry sand garden. It is best enjoyed by walking along a circular route around its grounds, from which the gardens and buildings can be viewed. It is definitely one of the best places to feel the zen and tranquility of Japan. If you're headed to Ginkakuji, you might want to check out the Tetsugaku no Michi, or Philosopher's Path. What's unique about this is that the path follows a canal which is lined by hundreds of cherry blossom trees. Usually in early April, these trees explode with color, making this one of the city's most popular cherry blossom viewing spots. Outside of the season, however, the path looks like a regular path, but it still retains its historical value and makes for an enjoyable stroll regardless. What did you think about this itinerary and what would you change about it? Let me know in the comments. In my next video, I show you the best ways to spend a day in Osaka. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss out, and I'll see you in the next episode.